Hi everyone, so just a reminder that the swaps for the Winter Fun Traveler's Notebook, Laminated Traveler's Notebook, are due to be postmarked by the 22nd, meaning the 22nd is the last day for you to get it in the mail to arrive here. And in so doing that, I also want to go over the guidelines again real quick and then some other things that have come up. So if I have links in the description box for any of the basic items that I normally use for TNs, they will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links, and I'll have them in the description box, which of course is right under the video. You can click on the title, you can click on show more. It's usually down here. Now if you're on a TV, it's a different story, and I don't know, but that's what I know as far as like tablets and computers and stuff like that. So I've already received some, looking great, a lot of fun. A lot of you guys told me you already got yours in the mail, so this might be a little late for most people because I do the videos, the sign up videos, and I pretty much try and say everything in that video. Whenever people do sign up, I reply with basic guidelines kind of typed out. Really, it's more about PayPal, about how to pay the postage, my address. It goes over really quickly what's required, but not like cut your paper at this size and cut that. That's like in the video, right? But I did have a question on one of them, and I was like, oh, you know, I wasn't super clear on some sizing on my folder, but the folder again, and I guess that's the other thing, we've made tons of them, right, the last few days and months, really. So I feel like those numbers are in other places, but it's not really for someone to have to go look through all my videos to figure that out. But basically at the end of it, everything needs to be 5x7 for this size traveler's notebook. Now a B6 size traveler's notebook is really like 6 point something by 4.88 or something, like, you know, it's about 5x7. So I make it 5x7 for these things just to make it easy. So when you cut stuff down 5x7, it's super easy. Always keeping that number in mind. So there's a few little hiccup things that I've already noticed, and sometimes in the past in the other swaps, and I don't know how to talk about it delicately or broach it delicately, because I don't want people to be upset thinking that if I return your swap or if I don't swap it out, it's because I didn't like it or something like that. It has nothing to do with the style or the design or what you know, come up with, because that's everyone's creativity is all different. We all have different budgets. Everything's different. But I require that you stick to the guidelines. And I know I've talked about that, and I talk about that, and then I still get things that are not within the guidelines. And I feel bad letting people know that. If I catch it, you know, whenever the swaps arrive, I literally just open it, just have it ready for the reveal so that I don't have to open boxes in front of the camera and it takes that much longer. But also just to make sure the swap, you know, everything's okay. Like as far as that it's not crushed or anything like that. But sometimes I can tell just by feeling something or looking at it real quick that something's missing, something's not right, you know. So I'll look into it so then I'm able to tell the person, hey, you know, I noticed this about your swap, and, you know, it was supposed to be this or that or whatever. So there's already a few things I just want to go over. Basic guidelines, 5x7. That's the most important thing. And when I say 5x7, I'm not talking about this outer cover, because the outer cover is going to be bigger than that because we want it to be bigger than that, because whenever you put things inside, it's going to start sticking out. And so you want this to be a little bit larger already. Plus you're going to laminate the cover, and that makes it bigger. I'm talking about the inserts. The actual things that go inside need to be 5x7. And having said that, I don't mean just the cover is 5x7 and the stuff inside can be smaller, because I've seen that too, and that's weird. Like the paper inside is really small compared to everything needs to be 5x7. Really, when you pick up like a Midori notebook, or, you know, these companies that obviously these are patterned after, their insert is what they're measuring, and then the outer cover is bigger than the insert because obviously you want it to protect the inserts, right? The cover is just there just for that, just to have something nice. Like this is, you know, we can clean it off and stuff like that. But the inserts are what you're going to hold on to later. Like, let's say you put pictures in here, or you know, you want to keep them. Maybe there's one that's just notes and you're going to throw it away when you're done. You know, it's not something you have to keep, and that's fine. But the inserts are what has to be 5x7, and the papers that go inside of it are also 5x7. Now, when I mention that, I give you guys little tips so we're putting them together, because like this one, when you fold the papers, the tendency is that each paper that's in the side is going to be pushed out more and more, right? We've already talked about that. So they always want to stick out. So then I trim that off. You can trim it with a X-Acto knife, however you need to. And because of that, whenever I make a cover, I make my cover 7x10, right? Because 7 tall, 10 wide. But a little bit extra on the 10. And I don't give an exact number for that because it just depends. You know, when you're working with it, it might be that if you did it 7x10 and you fold it in half, it's definitely these papers inside are definitely going to stick out. That's just how it is because of the way they layer into each other. So I go a little bit bigger than 10. And then when I'm done with that, if it looks like, oh, okay, I'm a little bit too much more than 10, then I'll just trim that off, you know, with the guillotine or with a however. You can make it look a little nicer, right? Fix it up. I don't mean an inch bigger or an inch smaller. No, no, no. It's still 5 by 7. If I measure this thing right now, it's going to be 5 by 7 because that's the whole point. So as we're talking about inserts right now, for the laminated winter fun one, the only difference I said was that this time it has to have one that's like this, where it's like cardstock or the same paper from your paper pack in here. Okay. Usually I'm like, oh, do whatever you want. If you want to do dot grid, quad, you know, a weekly agenda, a monthly agenda, any kind of agenda, just a notes section, whatever it is that you want, but you have to have 3 inserts or just blank. That's the other thing. If you are not good at printing things front and back, or you're not understanding how to get your specific computer and printer to do that, don't worry, don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't send in papers that are on one side it's printed, on the other side it's not, on one side it's printed, on the other side it's not, because it doesn't make sense. It's hard to look at, like when you're looking at it, it's confusing. So like whenever I set this up, I always want things to be functional, and that's the whole point. So that's why I want everyone to have that basic guideline and then the functionality, right? And that's all having to do with how you know, add the elastic, how it works, because that's all about the functionality of the thing. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. So this time I had said whatever 3 inserts you want, obviously, like always. So I did a weekly planner. The scrapbook one, which is what I stipulated, and I even wrote in the basic guidelines, I wrote it out, that one needs to be like a little scrapbook. However many pages you want to put in it, that's up to you. I don't stipulate those kind of things. I'm just telling you the basic stuff as far as that. We have our folder. And then like this one, I have a dot grid because I like the way dot grid works. I love it for notes. I think it's really pretty. So I chose to use a dot grid. Again, front and back, printed correctly. Please don't feel like you have to print things, especially if it's not working out for you. And then I know we printed it and you don't want to waste it. You can keep it for yourself for another project, but don't put them in here. Like whenever we do a swap, I think this is where I kind of discuss. It's because you have extra to give. It shouldn't be painful or like, oh, I have to go, you know, it should be kind of easily done because you have that to do. So I don't want to feel like if you, because you printed it, you're like, oh, I don't want to waste those, so I'm gonna put them in here anyway, even though they're not functional. No, please don't do that. Make sure if they're printed nice and front and back, great. If it didn't work out for you, just put blank inserts or another cardstock one. It doesn't matter, but don't put in things that aren't printed correctly, because honestly, it just makes it like work that the person who receives it has to do or fix possibly or whatever. Dashboard, again, I always say is 5 by 7. It's really any size. I mean, I'm looking at mine. I did make mine 5 by 7, but the actual paper on the inside, because the lamination makes it 5 by 7, is like 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. It's a little bit smaller because I laminated it. Of course, part of the guidelines is that it needs to be laminated, so if you want to use my dimensions, that's fine. If you want it to be a little bit smaller, that's fine, but not too tiny. It can't. The point of the dashboard is that when you go to write, like later, let's say I'm going to write a note on here, I put my dashboard there, it helps it to be sturdy, and now I can write really nicely on this sturdy dashboard. So that's why I don't really even, I do the pockets. I've been doing the pockets recently because I think it's cute, but you want to leave one side at least kind of flat, right? So that people can do that. Again, with a pen loop or however you want. Like even this pen loop, I created it in real time. Remember, you guys, I did this all in basically less than 2 hours. It is a little bit big, so I'm going to take this off. Actually, I'm just going to redo it. So I'm not going to send this off to somebody because I know it's a little bit too big to hold a pen. It might slide right out, and the point of the pen loop is to hold the pen. So I'm going to redo this, because I know that and I noticed that. So like the whole thing is about attention to detail, following the basic guidelines, and having fun, right? You like, I always try to keep it very basic in the video, and you guys blow me away with your entries. Like the things you do, I'm like, wow. So it's always fun to see. The folder is basically 5 by 7. Can you see it's basically the same size as this? It should be about 5 by 7. It shouldn't be a little tiny folder in here. I know I say, you know, you guys can obviously make the folder however you would like. I give an example. Which is super easy. My folders are super basic. It's 11 by 10. On the 10-inch side, you're going to score it at 3 inches. Or if you want it to pop in your head, score it at 7 inches, because that means it's 7 inches deep, right? This thing is 7 inches tall. That little 3 inches is going to fold up to make a pocket. And then on the 11-inch side, you're going to score it at 5.5, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on either side. And that little 1/2 inch is in here. Now, you can use a whole 12 by 12 sheet of paper, to be honest. Just make it the right dimension. So if you're going to use a whole 12 by 12, score it at 7 inches, fold that 5-inch pocket up, but 5-inch pocket is going to go all the way up to here. So it's kind of a little obnoxious, right? You want it a little bit lower. You can do 11 inches, 11 and a half. Like, it doesn't have to be what I'm telling you. But the final product needs to be 5 by 7. Now on this folder, because I laminated it, I made it a little bit smaller than 5 by 7 so that the lamination will bring it up to the 5 by 7. So on this one, in the video I mentioned that I made it a little bit shorter. Instead of 10 inches, I went a little bit smaller. But really, I could have left it at 10 inches. I just needed to score it at like 6 3/4. So that when I fold this up, this is only 6 3/4 inches tall. And then I'm going to laminate it. It's going to bring it up to 7 inches. I hope that's already not losing people. And on the other side, I said, oh, I made it a little bit smaller. And then I just folded it in half. I didn't even measure it because this paper was kind of thin enough so I can do that. I just folded it in half and then still did the 1/2 inch on either side. So I probably did like 10 3/4 inches across because I'm going to laminate it. If you're not going to laminate it, you know, like I said, if you still want to leave 12 by 12, then you would score it right down the center at 6 inches and score it at 1 inch on either side. Now you're going to have a 1 inch piece here, but you know, it's a reinforcement, so that doesn't bother me. I just think this 1/2 inch one looks nicer. But if you want to leave it a whole 12 by 12 and you're just scoring it without cutting, perfect. You know, that's fine. And then you make your pockets, of course. So for the winter TN, the other thing was a snippet strip, which I think nobody really has questions about that. I think it's pretty easy. Like I said, don't just put a strip of paper that's, you know, 2 by 12 inches. It has to be 12 inches long, but 2 or 2.5 inches wide. And put like stickers on it and think that's good to go. No, you want to make it a little more like a collage, which we already talked about that. So, you know, I think I had a lot of fun with it. It came out really nice. I was really happy with that. So we talked about inserts, we talked about the folder, we talked about the dashboard. So that's all we need for this one, okay? And a dashboard with some kind of pen holder. If that's just putting a binder clip, that's fine. I put this little stretchy, I'm going to do that when I redo it. You can also build in a strip, which I did like in the very first videos I ever did. I left a piece of paper here and then laminated the whole thing and then folded over the paper and stuck it down with Velcro. Some people just staple it down, and that's fine too. And it makes a loop for you. So you have to have a pen loop. You don't have to have pockets on the inside here, but I am going to add like a library pocket on this one. Oh yes, and then in here with your snippet roll or snippet strip, you're also going to add in the folder, please. And the other thing about the folder is that it needs to have 2 functional pockets. I think I had received one, it was super cute, but it looked like a little file folder, but the thing is things are going to fall out because it's a file folder. It doesn't have pockets. You got to have pockets somehow, okay, on your folder. And there should be 3 different items in here that the person can use to decorate their TN with or do whatever they want with, right? So if that's, in this one I didn't require a bookmark with washi, but let's say you want to do a washi sample or like rhinestones or some little bit of ribbon that's functional, not some weird, you know, super bulky ribbon, but something that's functional, something that people can actually use. Some stickers, you know, die cuts that come from the pack. Like this paper pack had a lot of die cuts. Okay, I'll probably pop some of those out. Die cuts you use your dies with and just to make like little frames or little accent pieces, whatever it is, but 3 different types of things, and you want to put them in the folder, okay, please? Because that's really what's going to hold those things. It needs to have 1 altered paper clip. It doesn't have to be a hidden altered paper clip, but just an altered paper clip. Like I said, I'm going to add a 3rd one to mine. I have 2 on here right now that I made in the video. Super easy, just putting the little pom-poms on there. I'm going to make another one that's probably a bow. And then on the outside, 1 decorative item. So I have this little dangle that I thought was pretty, and I have these little pieces on this elastic, and then I have this little topper. So I have 3 different things, but just 1 thing is, you know, good. So if you want to put something on here, put something here, put them however you want to do it, but at least 1. And that brings me to the elastic. Elastic has to be strung the way I show it here, and I think even somebody had asked how I do it. I show it every single time in every single video, and I do it kind of slowly because, well, first of all, you can't just do it very fast anyway. So hopefully you're paying attention to that. I can't put that in words because you start in one hole, come out the other one, go up, you know. You don't see any of that out here. I don't know how to explain it other than, you know, watching it. And it has to have the elastic out here. And I mentioned that last time because I know in other videos or other times people have submitted things that didn't. The elastic needs to be out here because, again, it's functional. This is the functionality of it. Now, I'm a fan of this one with the little hole in the center and doing it this way. But I've seen other people put a little hole in this back and then they attach it here. And then that basically strap goes around everything, and that's fine. But there's gonna be a little knot here that's kind of in your way, so I kind of like this. It's tucked away, it's out of the way. But if you want to put one here, it doesn't matter. But it has to be attached to this. It can't be something that you're gonna slide off, or you know, put it to the side and then you lost it because you were out and you know you can't find it in your purse or whatever. It needs to be attached to it. The whole thing about a traveler's notebook is it's ready to go. It's traveling. It's, you know, very easy, no nonsense kind of thing. So as far as those pieces. I think that's all I wanted to say for now. And the other thing is, you know, if I do receive them that aren't following the guidelines, I don't know how I'm going to address that other than if I catch it, I'll let people know, and then I usually just return it to them. That's happened in the past, and sometimes I don't notice till we have it, and then I decide, okay, I'm going to make the group bigger so that way I can take the people out that didn't follow the guidelines. And people might even think, like, what, like, why am I so, like, such a stickler for that? Because, like, honestly, it's not like they're for me. I'm not keeping them. It's because I want people to join, have fun, make a nice, you know, TN or whatever it is, if it's the other folder type thing that we just did, the ephemera folder, which was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm here for you guys. Everyone's like, oh, I love it. It was so great. You know, thank you so much. Like, they're just super excited. It was really a fun swap. And then to receive something that's at least comparable, right? Or at least that follows the guidelines. Again, it's not about style. It's not about the money that you put into it, because we all have different styles and the way we do things, and we all have different budgets. It's about the details so that it's functional and the person gets back something that is comparable, at least, you know. So I feel super bad sending somebody something that I know isn't right. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. So I'm either going to remove them, you know, I can't really do it in real time because you know how we draw the names and stuff. So so I think what I'm gonna probably have to do is go through the swaps a little more carefully when they do come in, which I don't want to do. I want to see them with you guys, you know? Honestly, I want to be surprised just like you guys. I don't want to look at them ahead of time. Like, you know, I make my videos that way too, even just review videos, you know? But, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. And I know a lot of you guys are really sweet and be like, oh, I would like any of them. You know, I think after a while you probably wear on you if you keep getting one that's like just outside of the guidelines. Like, it's not fair. And that's just me. So I am putting my foot down as far as that. And you guys can just hopefully benefit from that, you know, when you enter the swap, it's going to be, you know, an even exchange as far as the guidelines, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know that there's anything else I needed to mention on this one. Now, I think I talked for way too much. So again, postmark them by the 22nd, September 22nd. I pulled these things out because I've been wanting to make a traveler notebook for one of my YouTube friends here. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe I should make it right now. So I'm going to make one right now and I'll talk about things. This has nothing to do with the winter fun. It's not even following those same guidelines other than the sizing, right? Sizing is always the same. So I have my 3 insert covers here. Again, 7 inches tall. The 7 inches is never going to change unless you're laminating. And I don't really recommend laminating the inserts, but you know, if you want to do it, go ahead. But you're going to have to do something funny with your numbers. But then when you do funny with those numbers, the inserts aren't going to fit the same because I guess you can cut this down more. But, you know, again, the insert's supposed to be 5 by 7. When you laminate it at 5 by 7, it's going to be, you know, 7 1/4 by something because it's going to be bigger by the time you're done laminating. So anyway, these are 7 inches tall, all 3 of them, and they are, I was going to say, a little bit bigger than 10. They're like 10 1/8 of an inch because by the time you put these inside, it's going to push out. So I'm just going to show you real quick, and I was going to do this in a more orderly fashion, but oh well, here we are. This is just for my fun time, so hopefully you'll stay tuned. So again, this is like 10 1/8. I'm not going to look for a 16th mark, and this paper is pretty thin. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and fold it. But if you have really thick paper, I don't recommend that. You really need to bone fold it. Okay, like find your score line and all that. So, and again, if you want to do that and make it easier, let's say you cut this at 10 1/4, score it at 5 1/8, and then go ahead and do that, and then cut off the excess that's out here, right, to make it easier for you. These papers all were cut down to 7 by just under 10 because I know when I fold them, they're going to stick out. So, look at that. So I know in the video the other day when I did the live, I was still kind of cutting and measuring and cutting and doing things, but usually if you keep it in mind that you need this to be a little bit bigger and the papers inside just a little bit smaller, I'm talking about in the width, not the 7 inches. 7 inches is always the same. It works out. So I'm just going to staple this. Oh, I do want to mention, if I'm probably not gonna do this whole thing because I mean there's a lot of things I need to get going, and this video is long enough already just for me talking about you know, all the different stipulations. This center one, I know that's a hard punch to get to because if you don't have something long enough to punch that, if you don't have a crop dial big bite like I do, like a lot of us do, then I would use an awl. And if you're gonna use an awl, you're gonna poke it from the outside in, because if you poke it from the inside out, it's gonna just be torn because it's an awl. It just pokes through it basically. Do it from the outside in so you don't see that rough edge. And if not, I know there's other companies that sell like hole punches that you can just place wherever you want, and it's like a screwdriver, so when you push it down, it just kind of like, it like goes in where it needs to go. Definitely that works. I just want to make very clear, because I feel like in the videos I make it very clear, but then sometimes I get questions and I think, well, you know, if someone didn't get it, then maybe other people will have the same question. And I really appreciate it. Thank you guys, the ones that say, I looked and you know, and now I just want a clarification on this. That's perfect. That's fine. Yeah, no worries. So here's one insert, and then I'm going to corner around the edges, and I always corner around the top, and then I corner around the inside separately, because that's what I like to do. I like to use the 1/2 inch, and I just make sure it's all the way open. That's another issue I have myself. I forget, and then it doesn't want to go in there right. So I'm going to corner around all the edges. That's one insert. I am doing this similar to the Snow Much Fun in that I have pieces of cardstock here that match my cover and things like that. So as you can see, it's kind of like a Thanksgiving-y, pretty traveler's notebook. These are cardstock, and again, 7, you see this one's a little bit different, but 7 by just under 10 inches, because when you start layering them inside of each other, they're going to push out. Now this is regular old cardstock, so I'm going to do them one at a time, like the other ones that you just saw, the notes one. I just folded them all at once because it's just regular typing, like printer paper. It's very lightweight. This stuff right here is thicker, and if you try to fold them all at once, it's not going to be good. So I fold these all separately, and then I layer them into each other. And as you can see already, just those two layered into each other, it moves out because they can't occupy the same spot at the same time, so it pushes out. So that's another reason why I'd make them a little bit smaller than the 10 inches on these inserts, like on the inside part. Now this was a thicker paper, and it's a bummer, but you can get it going. Still trying to just be gentle with it so that it folds nicely. But again, if you want to do like 10 and you know, let's just say 10, and then you score them at 5 inches, and then just cut off the excess that comes out here, because it's definitely going to come out. Let's put this in here. See all these extra pieces, and they're kind of funky. Ruler, X-Acto knife, you can cut that off. You can bring it to your guillotine. You can do them one at a time, knowing that some need a little bit more taken off than others. However you need to do it, you know. So I'm going to take a little moment just to chop a little bit off of here and there, a little bit at a time, and see where we're at. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, and these papers, I'm going to put in this one. I think this is pretty. Well, they're all pretty, but I think this is pretty for the, like the little scrapbook one. So again, one of your inserts has to be looking like this kind of thing, where it's cardstock, or again, papers that coordinate with your, with whatever you made. So I'm going to pop this in here, and again, since I made the outside just a little bit bigger than 10 inches, you know, it covers it nicely. I'm going to staple these in. If you don't have a stapler, a long arm stapler, I'll have a link for one, but again, you can put like basically 3 holes, and then you're going to go in and out with some whatever it is that you need for that to hold together. Usually it's like a well, I don't say friendship bracelet stuff. It's I would use a thicker string, but whatever it is you want to use. Okay, and then this is my last insert, and this one I haven't printed, so actually I should have brought my computer. I'll talk about the printing one more time, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because I don't have your same computer and printer, and it might be different for you than it is for me, but I'll show you kind of what you're needing to do, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, so like this dot grid, I already have it open, it's out, it's here. Obviously I don't know how you get to your own files after you download things, so I'm gonna skip completely over that. But this particular one is for B6 dot grid on letter paper, which is, you know, standard A2 size paper. This first page is printing instructions. I don't want to waste my ink on that. So I print from page 2 to 3, and this one actually, if you just say print, this particular one, I'll have a link for it. It's going to print 6 pages front and back, and of course that first one's going to have instructions on it. We don't want that. So what I do is I say pages 2 and 3 is what I want to print. So I'll go File, and I'll print black and white, two-sided. It's already clicked on because that's what it was clicked on before. I just printed those notes ones. And I want, oh wait, sorry, all of them, but I want how many copies? Maybe 6 copies. So that's basically 12 sheets, like front and back. Actually, it ends up being more than that. Either way, it actually ends up being, I think, 24, because on this side, front and back, front and back, front, yeah. That's actually 24 front and back pieces, right? But 6 pages, 6 copies of pages 2 to 3, because I only want those 2 pages, because I want them front and back. And then I have to go into layout to say that I want short edge. See, it was on long edge binding. If I left it on long edge binding, it would bind it from this side and it wouldn't flip it the right way. So I want short edge binding, and that you'll just know. I think they even have instructions on here that say to do short edge binding. Either way. And now I'm going to press print. Now that is my computer. I don't know what your computer does, but that's what you want. You want it to print front and back so that one's not upside down or one's not the exact same where it's not rotated. Sometimes you have to rotate it. Maybe you have to say rotate landscape or rotate horizontally or whatever, but try out one of them. I wouldn't say to print all 6 like I just did right now. You can say print 1 copy of pages 2 and 3 or whatever pages you need, and see what it looks like. If it's not right, then try to figure out what's up. But if you're not good at that and it's not working for you, then just forget it. Okay, just do some other inserts like blank paper, quad paper that you get from the store. You never know. I don't know why my printer did this. It's just stopped printing. So, and this should be the side I should have printed twice already. So I'm not including that. I'm tossing it to the side. That page is done. Oh, there's another piece of paper I had from before. Okay, so again, we're just going to cut this down on the lines, you know, whatever it's showing me. I'll fold it in half and I'll pop it in here, which I've done videos on before, so I'm not going to spend time with that, which you just saw. And basically, again, cut it down 7. This one has guidelines, so you can follow the guidelines too. This is my cover. Cover is super easy. The only thing is, well, let me talk about the sizing. It's 11 1/4 by 7 1/4, and those numbers have been the same. I have not changed them. I haven't done anything with that. It's always for a B6, 11 1/4 by 7 1/4. Again, it has to be a little bit bigger to go around our inserts and everything, and have it 1-inch spine. So, since I'm not just doing 11, because if it was just 11, I would just find the middle 1 inch. It's in quarters, so the numbers are a little bit different. And I know that might make it like, okay. So we're scoring 5 1/8. And then from there we need 1/2 inch, so 5 1/8. So we're adding 4/8 because we need another 1/2 inch. That's 5 5/8. And then 6 1/8. And I literally just remember those numbers, so they're in my head. I don't have it written down anywhere. Well, I do, but I didn't go look at it, is what I'm trying to say. It's always the same. 5 1/8, 5 5/8, 6 1/8. Now, if you don't like the eighths, you can work with it differently. You can just fold your paper in half, and you already found the half, and then once you have that half line, score on 1/2 inch on either side of that half line, okay? I do like folding mine before I laminate it. I feel like it helps it not pop and buckle and look ugly when you go to laminate, because sometimes it delaminates as soon as you go boop. It's like, nope, it doesn't want to, and it peels away, and then you can just run it back through. But might as well train it to begin with. Some people say this doesn't work for them, so try it out. And that also reminds me, if you laminate yours and you see that the lamination's not working, you added some bulky stuff on the outside, just redo it. Please don't send that in. It doesn't look nice, and then, you know, it's not gonna fix. It's not gonna fix. So please, I think some things happen in travel too, because you know, however they get here, it gets really hot and all that. But if you know, having made it, it's in front of you, that it's not right, please don't send it in. I'm going to corner around. Now, again, I don't require that people corner around their things, because maybe you don't have one of these guys. Now, I recommend getting a corner rounder because they're awesome. It doesn't have to be this one. I'll have links for it, but, you know, I have tons of corner rounders that aren't this kind of thing, little punches or whatever. So that's my cover, and that is it. We're going to laminate that. I don't put the holes until after I laminate. And this is my folder. Now, I did my folder a little bit different this time around, and because again, you can do things a little bit different. I just want to make sure I'm on the right side. Okay. So I did 10.5 this time, just because I wanted my pocket to be a little bit deeper. I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to score it at 7 inches, just so it doesn't confuse people. I can score it at 3.5, but you know, 7 inches. And this is, so that's the 10-inch side, which I'm using 10.5, right? On the other side, that's usually 11 inches. I made it a little bit smaller because I'm going to laminate this. And actually, even this, the height, I probably should have taken a little bit more off. I should have scored it like at 6 3/4, to be honest. But I did not. So, you know, there it is. Actually, what I'm going to do, because that is going to bother me, I need to laminate it so I don't want it to be too tall. Because if it's too tall, it's not going to bind right when you put it in your traveler's notebook. The little stretchy stuff is going to be like, nope. So I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off the top. And I'm just eyeballing that. Okay. I should have scored that 6 3/4. I am sorry. Now, the other thing would be to like, oh, just score it again, but then you're gonna have a score line and another score line, and it doesn't look nice, so I didn't do that. I just took a little off the top. On the 11-inch side, which for me essentially is 11 and a little bit extra, I'm just gonna fold it over. Now, if your paper is nice and thick, then you do want to make the calculation to know where your center mark is. But this one is workable. I can do this. So I didn't even measure that, because again, I didn't have to, right? But now I'm going to do 1/2 inch on either side. So the 1/2 inch is always the same. 1/2 inch here, and 1/2 inch here. And I'm just doing this because I wanted to make this project. I'm not trying to show anybody, you know, really anything right now. I'm just kind of going over it, and I thought, well, you want to see it again? Because I love watching traveler's notebooks be put together. Then here we are. I'm going to go up this side. I didn't want this video to be too long, though. I'll probably put a little note at the beginning for people to skip it, but I would like for people to listen to all the instructions if you're in the swap. But again, I already did a video on that, but people still have questions sometimes, so I don't mind doing this again. So I cut that little bottom quadrant out. Oh, you guys did such cute things with like different dies they put on here and cut it, you know, different ways. Maybe an on the edge punch. Oh, that would be cute. But for now, I am just going to. So the point of doing this is that this part right here, if you just fold it up, just like a pop-up card, just like what I showed you here, when you put one thing inside another, it pushes out, right? So same thing here. You can kind of work around it though. Once you folded it, if you want to keep it solid, you would just kind of put the excess towards the outside, because it's going to want to like do something funky before you glue it down. But for me, it's get rid of that. So I just go in here, and maybe today I'll do like a little rounded pocket. And I'm just doing this by hand. And now both of my pockets are pretty much the same. We have a score line, so we're following that score line. And I usually don't completely score it till I'm done, because we have this side also that we need to bring in. And again, the way I do it is just because I like to do it this way, but you can, I'm going to score that a little bit. You can do yours however you like. This reinforces the sides, which I really love. A folder is a tricky thing to laminate because of the bulk that we have here. So I'm just kind of looking at this way. I used to keep it down, but now I like doing it this way better. I'm going to chop that little piece out right there. Same thing on this side. Just eyeballing where that ends, that pocket ends, and just notching out a little tab. And then we're going to glue this down. Oh, my glue, I'm actually running, I'm telling you, this is the second bottle I've never gotten to the bottom of like a glue bottle, but this one I do. So I like to get that in there, and on this side it's going to be on the inside. And I'm just going to hold that down. I'm going to show you something in just a minute, because I'm not bone folding anything until I'm almost done. And then I'll show you what I need to do to make sure it's nice and kind of even square. And you see, these don't take a long time to do, but again, it's just attention to detail. Just making sure we have the right size and all that. Again, mine's a little bit shorter and a little bit skinnier because I'm going to laminate it. But if you don't laminate it, make sure after you're done doing all your scores and everything, when you fold it in half, it is 5 by 7. That's what we're looking for. But the numbers I gave you, you know, with the regular one should get you there. So hopefully that works out for you guys. So I fold it now and see it's a little bit off. This is when I will actually bone fold it. And actually I bring this back. Kind of helps me. I'm going to level those two together. Oh, here we go. There we go. It's because that one little piece is out. And I'm not saying you have to be this picky. You don't. But this is how I like to do it. That way I know that this thing is folded pretty nicely, you know? And then here I can see that this piece is hanging over. So I'm just going to take my scissor and trim that little edge. Okay. And because I like the look of this, corner around this too. And some people like to corner around on the inside, like once you folded the folder. They like to corner around here. Go for it if you like that. So now we have pretty much all the inserts and everything done. I am going to finish that one insert, you know, cut it down and get it going. And I'll be right back. Actually, while this is heating up, because really the only thing I have left to do is laminate. I am going to put these together. This is my dashboard. They're just slightly smaller than 5x7. Again, whatever it is you want to do there. Not too small though, right? I'm just going to glue these together. Normally I would like the glue to have time to settle up before we put it into a, what's this thing called? Oh my gosh. Before we put it into the laminator, but I forgot, even though this was sitting on top of the pile of everything. So again, a little bit smaller than 5x7. And I will corner around these two. And then I even made, I'm going to do a little washi sample for this one. Like I said, it's not required for the winter fun. But this is just a tag I cut like 2x6 or something, and then use that tag punch that I have on the very top. It makes the hole, but we're going to have to make the hole again. And actually that little hole kind of worries me because whenever you try to put like die cuts or something like that and try to laminate all together, those areas are what like does not want to stick. And then it causes problems. But hopefully it'll be okay, especially since I'm going to get rid of it. So we have these guys. I think I'm going to leave it straight, I guess. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and do this kind of thing. And sometimes I like to put little stickers on the top that kind of stick out, you know, and then laminate it all at the same time. Whatever it is that you want to do. This one's just kind of plain. This is like a linen napkin. That's so pretty. You know, sometimes I'll put on the back side or on one of the sides like a calendar, just so, you know, if you're using it that way. This one is kind of like a fun notes dot grid. So this is what I have as far as the inserts. Notes. Pretty paper that coordinates. And then this one's dot grid. So it's just kind of a fun traveler's notebook. It's not so much to plan anything. But people can use the dot grid if they want to make a little planner, like bullet journal type things. This all goes in here. And, oh, this is ready and I don't even have my sheets out. Okay, let me go grab my laminating sheets. I'll be right back. So my laminating sheets, the ones I've been using just until I use them up, because I have a ton from like Scotch and Fellows and other brand ones, are from Daiso. These are A4 size. I think in the chat last time, somebody kept asking about the A4 laminator. It's not really an A4 laminator. It just has an opening that's over 9 inches. It's about 9 inches. This is like 8 1/4. Standard A2 size paper is like 8 1/2. So this thing has to be at least 9 inches open to fit that. I have a 12-inch one. I'll have links for both of them. Actually, the same machine link will have the 9 and the 12-inch option. That's just up to you. Obviously, the 12-inch one costs more, and it's probably not necessary because most of the things you're going to do are probably smaller like this, but, you know, it's an option. I am going to put this in my laminating sheet. This is 5 mil laminating sheets, which is my preference. I know before I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you only have 3 mils, if you have some at home already and that's what you have, then use it, you know. But it's very thin, and it does feel very thin when you're done. Otherwise, just pop this in. Again, I'm splitting the difference here. You know, give yourself some room for the thing to actually laminate. Sometimes you can pop like a little sticker or something else in this spot, but honestly, this is so taken in, I'm not going to mess with that because it can possibly mess up your laminating. So we have that one, and then again, this project, if you're going to laminate the folder, will probably take 2 or 3 lamination sheets. If you don't laminate the folder, then you're probably looking at 2 because you're going to laminate the dashboard anyway. It's not ever going to fit in with the topper. So dashboard and this guy, And there are some pieces actually in this paper pack that I wouldn't mind laminating. This would never fit at the same time with this guy, unless you get the 12-inch laminator, right? And you get like bigger sheets. But it doesn't fit this way. So if it fits this way, it pretty much takes up the whole thing on its own. So just gotta do that. So I'm gonna open this up, wait for that to come out. Again, some people say they like to fold theirs while it's still warm. Go for it. I haven't seen a difference when I go to do that, so I don't care. The folder is very persnickety. I would leave the folder by itself. Even though you have this room, maybe what you want to do is cut it off to use it for a pocket later or something. You know, I would cut this extra off, but honestly, it's so scary to me, the folder, because of that extra bulk. I just leave it. I leave it with the whole folder, the whole thing, let it do its thing. Don't mess with it too much. And make sure you bone fold your folder just so it's as flat as it can be before you get it going, because I'm telling you, just that little bit of extra second piece, second layer, look how beautiful that is. Perfect. Again, it's warm right now. If you want to go ahead and fold it, then go for it. I usually just fold mine afterwards, so there's that. Now we're going to put this guy in, and I'm doing this in real time for some reason. But I want you to see kind of when it comes out that it's a little persnickety. Where's my paper pack? Where is my paper pack? I need to find it so that I can run this through and like maximize my space, you know? So I'm not going to do this super real time, but I just want you to notice, like, see this on the round here? It's not as perfect as it could be because of that little, just that little bit that's there. It just makes it want to open up, like down here. So I'm definitely going to run this through twice. And the second time I run it through, I'm going to turn it over so it's a different way. Oh, you know where my paper pack is? Right back where I got it. I was being organized and I forgot. See, that's the problem with being organized. When you're not an organized person, then you're organized things like, I don't know what you're talking about. So this is from the same paper pack from Michael's. Give Thanks, I guess is the paper pack. All these cute little things I want to put in there as like extra bits that the person can use. So this is obviously to write on, and these aren't. So what I'm going to do is cut some of these down, and I'm going to laminate a few just because I like the way that looks. Like this one, I wouldn't write on that, or like that one, but these other ones are more like journaling tags. So again, check it out. It's not bad here. Just a little bit escaping there. So it's not too bad actually. I'm still going to run it through in a different way. So I'm going to run that through again and cut out some of these tags, and I'll be right back. Nicer, nicer, much nicer. Okay, I'm going to put it to the side. And the last set of things I want to laminate again is my dashboard. And honestly, on the dashboard you can put something like this even, you know? Just something flat. When you start getting it too bulky, it just delaminates. It looks not good. Ooh, you know, it'd be cute. I just saw this little glitter. I'm like, oh, let's put some little glitter. I'm not going to put a pocket on this or anything like that. It's just going to be a simple dashboard. Now, you can maximize your space. Like, if I put it this way and that doesn't look quite right, maybe I want to turn it a different way and get more space on this other side. Dashboard is thicker because it is 2 sheets, so always keep that in mind because your laminator will definitely notice that. So I'm just going to put these pieces here, and I'll have one more, see? And it all works out. I know it's out of the frame, but I'll show you just a minute here. So you can kind of play with it. If you have stickers, you can laminate stickers, you can laminate vellum. I mean, there's lots of things. So this I think looks good, and I'm not going to push it much more than that. So that is what's on here. I'm going to put it through, and if for some reason the dashboard being 2 sheets makes it so it doesn't look like it laminated quite right, what I'll do is cut that one piece off because everything else is going to be okay, and then run that through again. In the meantime, I'm going to cut these off. I use my guillotine, but you know, you can use scissors. Just cut off the excess. Do not cut into the area that has like that air bubble because then it'll delaminate later. You want to leave that alone. I was cutting things down. This came out, and not too bad. What I'm going to do is cut this. I'm still going to run it through one more time. Just because. So pretty. Oh my gosh. Love it. Okay, I'm just going to run that through one more time, and I'll continue cutting the excess off of my folder and off the cover. Okay, and while that's doing its thing, I like to take my board, if I could find it, What is going on today? I think I have some little gremlins around here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. This went back a little further. Okay, this is done actually. Okay, much better. So I'll just trim that off. And before I turn this off, just like I showed you guys last time, I like to go ahead and make sure these things aren't going to delaminate on me. And all that means is like the lamination wants to pull away or it pops open. And you can tell because it looks white. Like it looks like frosted, like something's wrong. So I'm just following the lines that I made earlier, right? My score marks. Just using that blue line to help me just make sure that I'm straight. That blue line marks 4 1/4, which is a standard A2 size card that I use all the time, so I like to have that mark ready to go and just like, yep, this is 4 1/4 right here. And again, this doesn't have to be folded like completely ridiculous. It can just be notch, 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 because you just want, and you don't even have to put that middle line. I don't care, like whenever I give you guys the guidelines, if you want to leave a straight back, that's fine. I just like to pop that in there. But you can leave it straight and just have a 1-inch spine that doesn't have that middle section. And I think we're good. You see that? No delamination. Doesn't look white or like frosty underneath. That's great. And then we got to do our folder. And some people like to, after they open up their folder pouches, the pockets, to laminate it again or run it through one more time. So if you want to do that, definitely go ahead and do that. This one I will fold a little bit more. Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm going to follow this line with my X-Acto knife. Again, you just get into that little air bubble. This time you do want to get into the air bubble. And just slice it very carefully to not slice the underneath paper. And one other thing I do here is I also corner around these guys. Okay? So anything I laminate, I corner around because the lamination's kind of pointy and it can scratch. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have all these pieces cut down. Again, actually just did a pretty good job. Look at that. It is laminated right in the center. You see that? You can see that white edge where it ends. But either way, I'm going to pop that out anyway with this guy. And on this one, I probably am going to go with the big hole because I'm going to put a ribbon in there, so I want it to work. But there you go. I do not recommend using this big size hole for when you make the holes for the elastic though, so I've already talked about that in the past, so I'll leave it at that because it just makes big old holes. So now, when you go to put these holes, I'm going to put one right in the center. It's a little bit off center, but either way, just in here. On this, you want to put one in the center, about 1/8 of an inch off the paper. Okay, so that's like 1/4 inch from the lamination to that dot. And then one in the center here, and one in the center here. So in the center between kind of where you have that midline. Again, if you don't do the midline, if you want a straight back, then it'll be a little bit different, but okay. And just like I did before, and I've done every other time, I'm going to take the, what is this, 1/8, yeah, 1/8 inch punch, and I'm just going to eyeball where that is. I'm going to punch it, and I'll do the same for the others. So I'm just looking at that little dot that I drew myself. And I'll punch that, punch this one, punch the next one. I'll do my big bite with this one, and then the other 3. Ooh, all right. Well, from one shot to the next, it got crazy here. Sorry. I was like, okay, what do I need? I need this. I need this. All right. Okay. So from this little pack, I think this brown one, I think I have enough of it to go around. That'd be really nice. So let's see. Again, I don't really measure this. But I did talk about this at the beginning, and I wasn't going to do this whole video, but now here we are, and I'm doing it. So I'm going to cut this off because it was kind of crazy looking. So from here, when I go to do this, I make it so that I know at the end there's going to be some sticking out in here. So that's how I remember that we need to start from the middle, bottom or top, however you want to do it, but the middle, and then move over to the one next to it, and come back through. And you're going to need enough to kind of go over, come down, go back, and all these other things. So I'm going to bring as much as I think I might need for that. Up to that top left one. Over to the middle one from the back now. We're going to go forward. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky because we have 2 coming from that same thing. I will have links for this elastic. I mean, by now, if you sign up for the swap, you should have those things, right? We're getting kind of late, but if you're going to make one for yourself now that you feel motivated, you know, go for it. This guy needs to go through that hole again, and so I usually use like a little pokey or something to help me push that through at least enough so I can grab it on this side. Okay. This is the end of, so that same one that we just shoved through, we're going to bring up on the right side, the bottom. I'm going to bring it back up here at the one that's left on the right, the one that remains, should I say, and then back through this one. Now I want to see, now see that's plenty, so I'm going to take some of this back. I don't like wasting my elastic, so I'm going to take some of it back instead of cutting it off and wasting it. Let's take that back. I just kind of roll right back through. Now you want this not to be like super tight, but you know, not like guitar strings. You just want them to be there. And again, help me pop that through a little bit so I can grab it on this other side. I think that was almost enough, but not quite. Hold on. Let's give myself quite a bit. There we go. So hopefully my friend likes this. I think she will. Put that there. You can knot it, then then cut it off. I don't know. I cut it off first. I probably should lift myself a little bit extra just to get that. Again, they're not like guitar strings, but they're pretty taut. You know, you don't want it too tight because then that happens, right? You don't want it to bow. That's that. And then this guy, if I'm going to put charms on it first, I would do that now and then pop this in, but I have this piece left and that, awesome. Actually, I'm going to end up wasting some because I don't need all of this, but not enough to keep, so I'm not really bothered by it. I'm going to put them both through here. Just have an idea about how much I need for this to be closed tight. That's probably good because by the time I get everything else in there. So I'm just going to tie this around. And honestly, I might just leave that extra there because let's say it gets so puffy later that the person wants to loosen it up, they can do that. And they have some to do that with because, yeah. And I forgot to do this corner rounding. Oh my gosh. Thanks for hanging in there if you're still watching at this point. Let me get that little piece off. And I'm gonna pop everything through. Okay. And we have our things. Again, I open that up. Sometimes people like to run it through the laminator again once they've opened it, but you know, whatever it is that you want to do. Ooh, all right. Let's bring back our pieces. So I'm gonna put notes in the front. Usually I put the agenda in the front, but I didn't do an agenda this time. And then the little scrapbooky one. And then my folder that's going to have some cute things tucked in there. Again, pieces from the paper pack, those little tags. Maybe these cuties. These fun things I'll tuck in there. I think I'm going to put this on the outside, so I'll wait for that. And then the last insert. So you saw that it made 4 inserts. Oh, I do want to mention one more thing, actually, now that I put my folder in there. If you put your folder in and you don't like the way it's sitting, because it does, you know, with the lamination, it does do a little something different, you can come in and just take that and corner round it. So this little corner rounder came with my machine. Actually, I think this is going to be too thick for this one, but let's see. Just get rid of that little edge, and now you've got a little space that'll tuck down in there better. And if you find that when you get home, you swap home and it's like that and you can corner around it yourself and it works. So there's everything basically. Here is my dashboard. Here is something to hold on to my pen. Again, I can add an elastic strap too, or just leave it that way, because what happens is your pen can just hold on like that. And I have a little matching pen that I wanted to include, so I have it there. It says Positive Vibes. And there is my dashboard. Again, I didn't put anything sticking out the top, but normally I do just because it looks cute. And that is a basic laminated traveler's notebook. Do I want to add a little pocket here? I might. I don't like embedding the pocket just for the same reason that this thing has a problem with laminating with pockets, especially on the cover. It's going to delaminate, it's going to go around the other side, it's going to be very visible, like, eh. So I just usually leave that alone. I'll add like a library pocket or like something from like whatever dies I might have that make a little pocket, and then stick it on with like red liner tape or really heavy duty tape. So there's that And then that insert, this insert, folder with some cute stuff in it. Whenever I get that put in, another little insert, dashboard, elastic, has to be elastic, so it makes it functional and attached to it so we don't lose it. I can make my own paper clips, but for now, look how cute these are. I'm going to add this little kind of coral color one. I think it matches. And I'll just pop it on here somewhere. Yeah. Just for funsies. So cute. Little guy. I'm going to put this on the outside. We have Welcome Fall. Again, if I want to add some dangles, make it beaded dangle, which I probably will, I'll add that on. Actually, I have these really cute metal-like pumpkins that are so cute. So yeah, I'll definitely have to add that. Real quick, let's talk... Oh, look at that. I'm already forgetting this guy. So I'm going to put some ribbon on him. And you know me, I always go for the same organza ribbon that I always have sitting here. But of course, right now, I don't know where it is. It's literally always in front of my face. Where are you? Where are you? Actually, I found this little tassel, and that'll be very pretty too. Tassels all around in this one. So I'm just going to pop it through and then pull it through like this. I'm going to add some washi on this. So there's a washi sample there for my friend to use. I'm just going to wrap around washi the same one several times so that it's a washi sample basically. I'll just tuck this in here for now. Aww. And then, yeah, so what I want to say about these real quick, again, I'm going to go over what a hidden altered paper clip looks like or how you can construct it. Of course, you can do whatever you like, but I just, you know, I have all these little strips that we cut off, which would actually work really well for these guys. I'm going to use like this one. And let me see if I have, not my favorite. Let me see. The pumpkins are sideways. Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, we have this guy and we have these. How much is this? And this is the thing, it doesn't have to be anything. So this is like 4 3/4 inches. That's fine. I'm just going to cut it really quickly just to show you the construction because I know in the last swap some people had problems with that part of it and I just want to clarify. So let's say I'm just gonna, it's 4 and something, it doesn't matter, by 2 inches wide. Just kind of a fat one. And then this little guy, actually, you know what? Let's make it the same. So like 1.5. Oh, I do like those boards though. Let's say, because the width should be about the same. So let's just pretend it's the same width. I don't want to cut too much off of this because I like that gourd. See, I got something in the way. Okay. And again, I don't even really know how wide or long this is. This is the part I'm going to put on the top. And of course my little gourd's facing the other way anyway. And then this guy. About the same. And I'm doing this without measuring because I know last time I gave a lot of measurements and then people were like, whoa. So I'm not even measuring anything. Okay. We're going to take this guy. I'm going to fold him in half. This is what's going to keep this from showing. So all I did was grab a piece of paper. I fold it in half. I'm going to stick this paper clip on here. It is on there. So now if I was to slide something in here, it's there. It's not getting caught up on anything. Nothing's happening. It just slides really nicely. Now on top of this, I'm going to add this paper. Now you see, once you add the paper clip, it pushes it down because the paper clip is in the way. It doesn't let it be flush, which is fine. We're going to cut that off later, okay? Like after I'm done here. I am just going to put glue all over this. If you want to use liner tape, glue, whatever it is, but don't glue it together. You don't want to put the glue in here. You don't want it to end up inside. So I'm putting glue all the way to the edges. Oh my gosh, this glue is on its last leg. And I do put glue kind of everywhere. I'm going to pop this in here as far as up as I can get it. And close that up. And as I'm holding that side, I used to just do one side and wait. I'm too impatient for that now. So now I also do the other side at the same time. Turn it over. Put the glue. Oh my gosh. And you think I don't have any glue. I have tons of glue. I guess I'm done. Oh, this guy did his job. All done. Okay. So now both sides, I'm just going to hold them and pinch it because, you know, the paper clip is in the way. You can use any size paper clip. Honestly, it can be the smallest paper clip. It doesn't matter. It'll work just the same. So I'm just holding this, making sure everything's great and that it's not glued together. Nope, still works. Good for me. And that is it, guys. You don't see the paperclip inside. There's no view of the paperclip. That's why it's a hidden altered paperclip. And then here, I can leave that sticking out if I want. I can just tear it by hand if you want to make it look kind of fun. But for now, all I'm going to do is this. And one of my favorite things to do is after I do that, is to do a little chomping. This is not what I was planning on doing today, guys, but you know what? I went for it. Hi, Mama. Miranda's being nice and quiet here. So I take like the little ticket stub, and I cut it all over, because why not? And look how cute. Now we have a shaped paper clip that works very well. And I'll do a little altering to this, put some other cute stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it this way. That way that little gourd is visible. And so now, you know, if I pop this in here, I can maybe decorate the top of it. But if not, I can just have it here. And let's say I put it here. And so it's a hidden altered paper clip. That can go in on the side here. I can put it on the top over here, however I want to use it. Just something else. But that's what a hidden altered paper clip looks like and is basically constructed, right? That's the most basic construction of something like that. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're all finished up or close to being finished up with your winter fun. I know I've heard from you guys that they're in the mail now, or that it's somehow already arrived, like I said. Please follow the guidelines. That is the most important thing. I do not want to not swap you or return it because the guidelines weren't followed. And I'm not talking about style, I'm not talking about look, I'm talking about guidelines. The basic guidelines. Alright guys. And then for this one, of course not this one, but the winter fun, you need your snippet strip. So I didn't address that at all because that's not what I was doing today, but I just wanted to have some fun, do something a little for a friend of mine here, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Alright, bye now.
Was I good?
Yes, you were very good.